So many people are in such a rush to close sales, to get the customer now, to make the ad convert, all this short-term thinking, that they end up designing business models and product portfolios that optimize for the wrong kind of people coming through the doors. But if you can change things around and design a journey, a way of ordering your products, structuring the sales process that filters out the wrong people and optimizes for the right people, it can make the experience of being a business owner so much nicer, because not only are you getting the right people in, those people are then willing to pay you a lot more money and not going to mess about refunding. And it's also going to be so much nicer for you to be working with the kind of people who actually want to work with you. And this has come about because a lot of people that I've been talking to recently have had these dilemmas around, well, what product should I build out and when should I sell it and in what order? And I've been getting very frustrated at this kind of short-term thinking, this day trading mindset to sales. Whereas for an education business, that one of the biggest opportunities you've got is to design an ecosystem where you can build relationships with people first, engage people, allow them to really get to know you and discover for themselves that they want to work with you. And then create this kind of ecosystem where people can then just go down this rabbit hole and learn from you and buy from you over and over again over a period of time. So I've called this the engagement-based sales model. I don't think that's the right name, but we're going to go with that for now. A different way of looking at it is, aka divide and conquer, because that's what we're going to be looking to do. So this is what happens so much. The big blue circle there is the overall market, and businesses that have not figured out their value proposition, that have not figured out their ideal customer. It still blows my mind how many people, when I ask, hey, who's your ideal customer? They can't answer that question. And most people end up being like this. So you've got the entire market here, everyone in the world who's a potential customer for your product, and then your business, and you just kind of try and sell into that. What happens? Well, when you try and sell your thing into the entire market, you get all kinds of noise coming back. A bunch of people telling you to F off, other people who are just not interested. And there's so much noise that it's very difficult for you to grow and evolve your business because of all of that noise, right? Conversion rates are low, you don't know who's paying attention, feedback you get is confusing. So what we want to do instead is aim for something a lot more like this, where this is the overall market, and then you have a very clear segment of people that you are trying to help within the entire market, and you focus your business entirely on that. So many problems are solved when you get clear on this. And this comes down to your avatar, comes down to your USP, all of these things that in my case study, if you've read it, we talk about in quite some detail. So when this happens, all of the noise that you're liable to get from the rest of the market disappears, because now you're engaging with the perfect kind of person who you've already identified as being your target customer, your avatar. So this is what we want to end up at. So I'm going to show you 3 real life examples of how you can do this and this might mean for the way that you sequence your offers, the way that you filter out customers. Because in order to get to this, you have to divide and conquer. You're going to get the whole market trying to come in, but your job is to erect fences and keep them out. And so the only people that are allowed in are exactly the right kind of people. So first of all, with my main business, Story Learning, if you've read my case study, which I'll link to in the description if you haven't, you'll know that we have this kind of offer structure, right? So with our core offer, so we sell language learning programs. Our core offer is basically structured into levels. So you would start off coming in at level 1. 2 places you can come in. If you're a beginner, you come in at level 1. You can also come in at level 3. But basically, this is the only thing that we offer on our website, right? All of this stuff here, you won't see it anywhere, right? It's not available. We use our core offer as a way to kind of gate the rest of the business. And this makes it so that if someone comes in and studies with us, first of all, right out of the gate, they might progress from level 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through, all the way down, and that's great. If they do that, then brilliant. That's kind of what it's designed for. But also, then once someone's come in and they're learning with us as a customer, they've qualified themselves as being exactly the kind of person we want, right? All of the noise of the marketplace is shut out at that point, and we are focused directly on these people. So once we've got these people, then we can continue to offer them other things. So standalone offers, we have dozens of different like standalone offers that we can offer over email over the course of 12 months or so. That includes a kind of hybrid continuity offer that we have. And we'll use various kind of filtering and tagging to offer people the right thing at the right time. And then we sell things all the way up to very expensive certification programs. But the real point is that our core offer is used to gate people so that when we come to design the rest of the business, even if we're looking for like customer feedback or we're looking for like options for things to build next and just general thinking about how to grow the business, we are not asking the whole marketplace. We're not asking all these guys out here. We're asking the 0.01% of people who have become customers of our thing. All right. So this is the first example. Second example is a friend of mine who's offering music coaching, and he was walking me through his funnel and how he's currently selling. And I understand that in the music industry, you get a lot of people kind of teaching this model. It's always a danger with kind of business models and coaching models that get taught en masse through paid ads and stuff, because they kind of evolve to be like from the coach's perspective, from the service provider's perspective, the guru, the make money online person, like they get, their job is, how can I put this? They succeed, or they're able to deliver their service if the most number of people that they work with get the most number of results quickly, right? So their interests are always very short term, because in the length of their program, whatever it is, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, they've got to get results for their customers. But what makes money now is not necessarily, and is often not, in the longer term interest of building the business. That's where the conflict comes in, right? That's why understanding the bigger picture is so important. So in this case, my friend was running Facebook ads, and those ads were going directly to a Facebook group. I think he did also have an email list, but wasn't really using it. So it's ads to Facebook group. And then from there, the strategy was getting people from the Facebook group to a webinar where he would sell this very expensive $2,000 high-ticket music coaching program. And then the other thing he was doing was people who were in that Facebook group, then he would be DMing them all the time, constantly saying, hey, are you interested in this thing, and starting conversations. So the whole aim of this whole thing was to sell this $2,000 high-ticket thing. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with selling that expensive product. But it's a very kind of intense all-or-nothing strategy, whereby your only job is to take someone from an ad and sell them this $2,000 thing on a webinar or on a DM. And if they don't buy, well, that's it. You might kind of potentially kind of circle back a couple of weeks later and again try and sell them on that same product. But it's very, very all or nothing. It's very high pressure. And he was also getting pretty miserable because he was spending a couple of hours a day on Facebook DMs trying to sell this thing. Like, I don't know about you, but that's not the way that I want to spend my time. It's also not the way that I want my customers to feel. And so we started talking about other ways of conceiving this business model. It's like, well, what is the way that we can just take these people, divide and conquer? How can we create this engagement-based approach to selling so that the people who are not right get filtered out, and then we're only left with the people who have somehow qualified themselves as being suitable, right? And so we talked about lots of different options, but one that I thought was quite interesting that I put to him was a little bit like this. So instead of the whole point being ads to basically very, very directly to high ticket, what we talked about instead was saying, well, let's keep the front end the same because he was getting good price leads. Let's send those people to a Facebook group. We would definitely add on the email list as well, done properly. So we can add that here. But then he had so much stuff to teach, right? And as an educator, you have so much to offer, even beyond your kind of high ticket program. There's always more you can teach. And so we thought about, well, what would be interesting is, why not design, once you've got people in your Facebook group, rather than just trying to sell them this, why not offer a series of workshops? Once a month, deliver a live workshop. It could be like 2 hours long. It could maybe cost like $100, something like that. And then just do a series of workshops once a month on a different topic related to music, and figure out who wants to kind of get involved. And I reckon he would sell a whole load of these. And what happens is that each time someone attends a workshop, A, they've qualified themselves because they paid money. B, they get to know him and build that relationship, so you build more intimacy. And C, once they've actually paid, guess what happens? Well, they start to pay more attention to the material. And so very, very naturally then, you get this flow of people who automatically want the $2,000 high ticket thing. Because the easiest way to sell a high ticket thing is to actually demonstrate and prove the value is there. If they get loads of value from a series of cheaper workshops, they're going to think, well, he's the guy they are now paying attention to for the world of music. Right? He has their attention. He has some of their money. It's the most natural progression possible that they then move on to the high ticket offer. And he probably wouldn't even have to do any phone sales or DMing or anything, because a straightforward auto webinar funnel or something like that would probably sell this, perfectly easily. So you see the difference in energy for the business owner between this model where you're running kind of high pressure webinars and DMs and things like that, between this and over here creating something where you're leading with value and engagement, you're dividing and conquering, getting the wrong people out, and then using this paid workshop method to just guide people into the high ticket thing. I mean, for me, this is the kind of business model that I want to run, that I would feel good about. So that's what I told him. And then third one is someone I'm working with at the moment who's in the marketing education space, runs marketing education and services as well. And basically we were sort of working on redesigning his entire brand. We were looking at how we could create something that's going to be future-proof, something that's going to be that's going to energize him and build value and create more potential for the next 10, 20 years. And so we had this rebrand, and then we were talking through, right, okay, well, how are we going to structure the offerings we have with this new business? And his go-to was a little bit like this. So here is top of funnel stuff, which in this case is a lot of social media, stuff like that. Getting people in through lots of different ways, JVs and all of that. So really, really good at top of funnel. And then his kind of go-to solution there for these three things that he was offering, like a paid newsletter, done-for-you services, and also some consulting. We were talking about, well, how do we make this stuff available? Because it should all go on the website, right? Because we want people to kind of come and to be able to self-select. But the problem with this is that it doesn't come out boldly and say, here's what we do, is this for you or not? And so you just kind of end up with mixed messages, a more complex funnel, because now you've got to figure out, okay, is this working, is this working, is this working? And it just doesn't do the job that we're trying to do here of leading with engagement, dividing and conquering, getting the wrong people out, getting the right people in. Because if we can do that, because here there's no filter, right? You don't know who's coming in. People can just land on the website, and the wrong people can opt into any of these things. And the business just kind of gets all very really kind of messy and lacks focus. So we talked about how to restructure it. And from all of these things, what we thought was, okay, well, how can we actually use your product portfolio, use your funnel to filter for the right people? And so what we did was reconceived it. So it ended up, the beginning was the same, right? So you've got the top of funnel, he's great at driving traffic. Then we have one thing for sale. And this is what I always lead people towards, right? One thing for sale, because that one thing makes it very, very, very easy for the person who lands on your website to understand, okay, this is what this person's all about. If I want to go deeper with this person, I've got to buy this. Okay, this is exactly what we did on I showed you with the language stuff here, right? If you want into our world, here's where you start. There is no other option, okay? And so we reconceived it to be about top of funnel, going to a website where there is one thing for sale, and that one thing is a paid newsletter. Because in the paid newsletter, this is something that all of the different potential avatars can be interested in. It's an opportunity for him to really set out his stall and say, right, this is my brand, this is what I believe, I'm going to teach you a bunch of really valuable stuff, and it was like $100 a month, something like that. So this is the only thing that's available on the newsletter. Will there be people who might want the other stuff? who come to the website and can't get it? Yeah, sure. But then that's okay, because what we're doing is we're filtering for the perfect people right here who are already prepared to spend a bit of money in order to learn from him. So from the paid newsletter then gets sent out every month. They get something in the mail, they read it, they get value from it, they're qualifying themselves as customers by spending the money. And then from there, we put ads in the newsletter itself selling the other two things. But again, it's not just selling the other two things, there's a very deliberate pathway. So from the paid newsletter, the offer that is made is for consulting. Right? If you want some higher quality interaction with me, where I can actually come into your business and show you how it's done, get you better results, whatever, then hey, here it is, it's available. And that gets advertised to these people only who have already qualified themselves. And then once you have those consulting clients, then for the right people, you can offer them certain done-for-you services. Now, the strength of doing it in this way is that there is a world of difference between offering done-for-you services to people who have already been through this funnel, joined your paid newsletter, paid for consulting. There's a world of difference between those people and then offering those done-for-you services to every man and his dog who arrives on the website. Can you see how different in terms of energy and focus that is? If you offer all of these things upfront on the website, you're going to have to deal with so many different types of people. Everyone who comes is going to react differently to your sales processes, to your messages. You're not going to be able to refine anything. But by doing it in this way, you develop such a tight bond with your customers. You understand them so well that means you're then able to develop out the rest of the business in the right way, because you're paying attention to the right people, not this kind of whole market approach of doing it on the front end. So everything I've talked about here is just one big mindset shift. It's about moving away from this day trading approach of how do we make the sale as quickly as possible and get that customer now, towards understanding that you have so much more to offer inside the ecosystem of an education business. You can filter out the wrong people, work with the right people, and then use those signals to continue to grow your business in the right way. And over time, I'm sure you can imagine how powerful that is. There are so many benefits to doing this. In general, you're working with less noise, right? So when you're making business decisions, you're making them based on the right people. Purer interactions. There's so much mess online, but it's so nice to work with people who are right, you know, who don't just want something from you, but where there's a more of an intentional relationship there. Higher intent and response, when you've got these offers further down the funnel, it's just, you don't need to sell. Really, people come to you and just ask to buy this stuff. But more importantly, the customers are so qualified at this point, you can do so much more cross-selling, you get so much more repeat customer, you end up with a higher customer lifetime value throughout. And honestly, guys, it's just more fun. It's so much more fun to do stuff this way with right people with the right energy in your world. And all of this leads to a much better business. So if that was useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, because that way when I make new videos, you get notified about them. That's cool. So do that. I really appreciate that, by the way. And if you would like to join my email newsletter, you can. It's at ollyrichards.co, where you will get a complimentary copy, completely free, of my 117-page case study called Anatomy of a $10 Million Online Education Business. Lots of people really like this, and I think you will.